Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry, y'all. Welcome back to the OS Rick Project episode 59. How are you guys? Welcome back. Um, what you been up to? How's everything? How was y'all's weekend? What have y'all been playing? What have y'all been watching? What have y'all been doing? Hopefully, all is well. I know for myself, it's been over here in the Gulf Coast in Texas. It has been hot, very hot, guys. Like dangerously hot. We're in the upper 90s with a heat index of 100, triple digits. It's just been hard, guys. But still making it, still going through, doing what I got to do, guys. What have you been playing? I've been on Final Fantasy 16. I picked up the demo the other day and I played it. I played like halfway through it, and I told myself, okay, this is actually pretty cool, pretty fun. I've been having a good time with it. So I ended up buying a copy of the game from my local big blue box store. You know what I'm talking about. I went down on Sunday. Actually, I went on the day of release. I went on day of release and they didn't have it. So I came back on a Sunday and I picked up a copy. I've been playing that. And you know what, guys? I'm still like I'm playing the game. I'm having fun. There's lots more to it than I thought it would be. And I'm playing it on the PlayStation 5. And what I've noticed is, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like between the gap between consoles and PC is at its most narrow. Um, at least when it comes to performance. Now, of course, I'm still advocating. I'm still a big time advocate for PC gaming. Big console, they like to get you with the whole monthly subscription. Getting into their ecosystem. You're limited to only what their hardware provides. But every once in a while, there will be some exclusives on X console platform of your choice, whether it's Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony. That's the only way you can play it on. Of course, I take away. I'm not including Nintendo in this conversation. In the in how it compares in performance compared to the Xbox and the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5, of course. The Nintendo's always going to be its own thing, right? And we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the Nintendo Direct and the one game that I was excited for as a I think as an older millennial, that's the only game I was like everybody else was like, what are you talking about, Rick? Um, but I feel like, again, the performance between the two, between consoles consoles and computer PC, it's at the closest. Now, mind you, I play at 1080p. At 1080p, I try to go for at least 60 frames per sec, 60 frames, 60 FPS, but I prefer 120. To me, 120 feels really really good. But if it goes down to, if it's 60, and that's where it has to play just to keep it from. And honestly, I mean, the GPUs that I have, they can handle 1080p at 60 frames per second. Um, but Final Fantasy actually looks really good. I'm enjoying it. So I can't speak for 1440p, and I can't speak for 4K, even though I do have a 1440p monitor. I just don't use it. I did use it for my main setup, but having one console at a different ratio, a different resolution, and then the other one, it was just a headache of having to bounce between the two, and then the location of the monitor, because I have a dual monitor setup, and I couldn't justify just buying another monitor just because, just to match my gaming one. So I ended up just moving the 1440 over to the Nvidia PC, and I'm just back on my BenQ 1080, my BenQ Zowie, which I love that monitor. I really do. It's a twisted number. It's a TN 1080p, 144 refresh rate. I mean, that thing is just solid. Yeah, but you get shitty viewing angles with TN. Like, yeah, so what? I'm playing video games and I'm squared up with it. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. But playing Final Fantasy, what I've noticed is I've been having, it looks good. Of course, I don't know if you guys have, I sound like a broken record. You guys tell me about it. I've told you guys hundreds of times, how, Final Fantasy isn't turn-based anymore. It's not what I grew up with. And and I just gotta accept that, right? They gotta make something that's gonna appeal for everyone, that everyone's gonna play it. Now, there's some things I kind of don't agree with. And I don't take like a hard stance on it because at the end of the day, I understand Square Enix is a business. They got to make money, even though they do weird stuff like invest in NFTs and stuff like that with their video games, which is I, I gotta follow up on that. I wonder. I'm curious if they're still doubling down on that because I know they were talking about it before. And of course, they like to it just build on the Final Fantasy VII world, which I don't know why. But playing Final Fantasy 16, the only part I'm not too crazy about is they have story mode and action mode, but then you can also put on these accessories that will make the game really simple for you. And I'm kind of two minds when it comes down to it because it feels like a part of me, and I can see both angles, right? I can see where they want everybody to play it to enjoy the game, no matter of what your video game skill is, so they can experience it. And then at the same time, it becomes like, look, just because even if you can't play this game, go play something else. Not all games has to be for everyone. If you cannot are not able to, fully utilize the game or utilize it enough to make the game to play the game and be successful at it, if well then go play something else. Like I don't know where I fall on something. I think I'm mostly fall on the part of the whole the kind of I'm kind of a gatekeeper, guys. Okay, I'm kind of a gatekeeper. If you can't play it, then maybe you should go play um like Last of Us or something. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? If there's only, I mean, how much hand holding can you expect and still call it a game, right? Then it just becomes just a cinematic experience. And I know, I look, this is just my point of view, right? Some people are totally fine with it. That's what they want. But me playing a lot of fighting games, a lot of Souls from soft games, games that are traditionally they're going to be kind of hard and you have to put in some work, to get anywhere in it. I mean, if some of that carries over to these other games where, hey man, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe it shouldn't bend the knee and be accessible for everyone. Maybe you should like just go play something else. But then again, Square Enix wants to make something where everyone can play it. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that. Sound off and tell me what you think. But yeah, Final Fantasy 8 so far. Why did I say 8? 16, 16, 16. Final Fantasy 16 so far seems to be good. I plan on streaming it and playing it off stream also, and get both and again put some time into it because it's been a while since I played a Final Fantasy game that I've actually. I mean, okay, look, I did play a Final Fantasy 7 remake. That was fun. I enjoyed it, but that was what 20. When did it release, guys? April 2020, I believe. So it's been a while. Um, Speaking of Final Fantasy, are you guys still excited for the next Final Fantasy 7 chapter episode? I think it's called the Rebirth. I think we might have talked about it. And it's been a while since I've heard anything on. I mean, they showed some stuff, but it's still a whiles away. So a while, ways away actually. So we're gonna have to wait. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16. I'm gonna be playing it. Not too bad. It's a lot more. It's a lot more darker than I thought it'd be. There's a lot more serious like themes going on than I thought than I've remember from seeing it in other Final Fantasy games. And I guess maybe it has more of an impact because maybe the character models look so lifelike. The the graphics, the designs, the sparks, the even the gameplay. Like I'm having fun pushing the buttons and making things work and trying to find the combo. It starts you off very simple. Square, 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 triangle, and then circle, square, triangle, and then you get a lot more. Then it opens up and you get a lot more abilities. Um, and that's all what I want to talk about too, guys. Is what Square Enix did with this demo. I actually enjoyed a lot because what they did was they put a demo out a week or two before the release of the main game, and they let you play it, try it out, and it was I didn't finish the demo before I decided to purchase it, but I think I saw people say like it was like maybe like a 2 hour long, roughly give or take, uh, uh um a 2 hour long demo. But they were actually able to put the game in your hands to try it out and let you make a decision whether you want to get it or not, which to me, I think is a step in the right direction, right? How many times have we seen a lot of these AAA companies, publishers, developers starting to, if you buy early with the mega pass or the mega edition or the ultimate edition for an extra $30, you'll have a 5 day early access. You're trying to see more of that. Square Enix actually just letting you play the game for free. All you have to do is download it, and mind you, it is for PS5 only, exclusive for the time being. I think that's a good way to go. I think it's a really good way to go, especially compared to how some of these companies. I mean, we've seen it before, right? NRS, NetherRealm Studios, is doing it with Mortal Kombat. Get the deluxe versions. You could have early access to the beta. We saw it with Activision Blizzard and Diablo. Get the Ultimate Edition or the Extra Edition, whichever, to get early day access. We saw it with other fighting games too. I mean, Axis did it with Guilty Gear. Get the Ultimate Edition, you get to play it 5 days earlier. So the fact that Square Enix actually has, they must have had confidence in the game to put the demo and let people pick it up and play it. So, that's actually a good move on their part. It's a good move on their part, especially since they've always they lately they've been kind of wishy washy with some of the stuff. Oh, and then that's right, I had Forspoken come out early this year, which I don't think anybody I don't think anybody played it, honestly. I mean, if they did, I heard it was just an average game. That's all it was. That's another thing I want to talk about, guys, and we'll probably save it for the next. Oh, this by the way, guys, this is going to be a short episode. We're probably going to keep it around the 20-minute mark for this week and next week, and then I plan on having some plan on possibly having some friends coming over and maybe have me and two others just converse for a good while and just and chit chat and catch up. But that's later on down the road. So this episode is going to probably be short along with the next week. So just heads up, guys, just a bite size. But we were talking about, oh yeah, Final Fantasy 16. It was. I've also been noticing that some game journals, and I'm doing the air quotes, and I'm using that term very loosely, are kind of like not happy with the game because it's too white, not enough diversity, or it's too. I think I heard some people say it's too simple because all you're smashing a square. Which look, yeah, I mean, if you want to put on the all the accessories and put it on story focus, yeah, you can play it that way. It's not what the game is all about. There is a challenge. I mean, there is more of a difficulty if you want to play more action folk oriented. As for the diversity thing, I know was it Yoshi P? I know he went out and talked about it and made a statement before talking about, look, man, this is takes place in like a fantasy in an old set in a secluded area, and I'm paraphrasing here, guys, like a secluded, its own standalone region, which is kind of like based off medieval Europe. So I mean, take it as you will. But I think at this point, again, game journals are I think they're just finding things to get upset about something because it doesn't, I guess, hit the check marks for all they want. I guess they don't have enough I guess the main characters don't have enough pronouns in their bios or something. Who knows? But it's just ridiculous. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to get your hands on this game, and I think I brought that up too, right? Especially when it came up, when was it Star Wars Jedi Survivor came out, where a lot of people saying it's not playable, and then it's actually, but for me it was playable, but then I don't know for some other people depending on your setups. I mean, I won't say it was the best performance from the best performance from this game and from any game in 2023, but it was okay. It was able, I was able to play it, but um yeah, I think this day and age, you just really got to watch out with what people are talking about, and keep your ear to the ground, and get your hands on something and play it before, because I think a lot of people are just looking for, I guess they're just looking for, like, I guess some sort of clout, or some virtue signaling, saying, "Oh, this game isn't so and so. It shouldn't sell. You should boycott it." Like, no, I mean, look, there are some games that I choose not to play and boycott because I really don't like the practices of the company. Like Diablo. I've chosen not to play that. I've chosen not to pick up that game. At one point I thought I was going to, but then I realized, you know what? No, I don't like what Activision Blizzard does. That's just me personally. If you guys want to play the game, by all means play it, have a good time. And just, the best way for me to support or not support is, with my wallet, of course. um but I feel like that's something that a lot of people just have to, like, realize. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the Nintendo Direct. Did you guys able to were y'all able to catch it? Were you able to see it? It was like, I want to say it came in last week on the 22nd. It was like around 45 minutes long. I watched it on my lunch break, and they had some good stuff. It was not too bad. But honestly, the only thing I was excited for, and I was genuinely excited for, I mean, my jaw hit the floor. It dropped. Was when I saw Final Fantasy. No, not Final Fantasy. Square Enix. Well, SquareSoft at the time. But I saw Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Star getting a remake. And I was so happy. That game was a game that I played a lot. It was one of the first RPGs that I had my hands on when I was a kid. I played it on the Super Nintendo. I remember having, I want to say I had a strategy guide for it also, and I hope, break down all secrets and find things. And man, I had such good memories with that game. I've replayed it several times. I remember renting it and then finally buying my own, not buying my own, but having my parents buy me a copy when I was a kid, of course. But I remember having lots of good memories with that game. Now, the thing is, and I mean, look, I remember when you were able to get Bowser on your party, and you could get Chomp as a weapon, and he just grabs it and he rolls it around his head and throws it. You could get Peach to join your party, and she'd have a parasol or a frying pan to attack her enemies. You get Malo, or you could get Gino. Of course, Mario was on your party. I mean, and the characters, the Axum Rangers, Valentine. I mean, all the Smithy, the I just remember having such a good time, and like thinking like, wow, you can really, like, you could really turn this game into an RPG. I mean, like, I never seen Mario as an RPG. I think they said like Paper Mario was supposed to be like the spiritual successor, but I never played that one. But now it has me thinking. It has me thinking, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way about this. And please let me know if you guys have come across this. And this is probably going to be for more of the older folks who are listening, maybe like, the older millennials, maybe closer to my age, you're in your, mid to late 30s and stuff. But do you guys remember, having a game that you enjoyed very much as a kid or when you were young, and then revisiting it as an adult, and then getting your hands on it and then thinking, oh no, no, this is just not, this isn't fun, this isn't play like I wanted to play, or you start knowing like, oh, how it's like how the game has aged because it's not. you can maybe you can't rotate the camera, or the camera's kind of wonky, or the controls are kind of like counterintuitive to, I mean, like you can tell the game is a product of its time, compared to now, because I know I've had that when I picked up a copy of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I remember going back and I was like, ooh, ooh. But of course, that was with the first Mass Effect game. Sorry, guys. Which, and honestly, isn't my favorite one. In my opinion, I think Mass Effect 2 is the best in that trilogy. I think it's the best of the whole set, because it gets, it has all the ability, a lot of the stuff you get from one, and it just streamlines it into, maybe instead of having all these abilities, now you have it to like 4 or 5 abilities, I believe. And it's been a while since I played it. Um, and then three, it was just maybe a little too big. And if you guys have played it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But I felt like two was and the best part, and maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to go back and just go straight to number two, and just lock in my decisions from the first game, and that way I can remember. Maybe the game, the nostalgia, the missed nostalgia, or the nostalgia paradox. That's what I like to call it, right? The nostalgia paradox wouldn't be so bad, right? So maybe that's what I need to do. But I want to play Legend of Zelda. God, I'm out of it tonight, guys. I'm telling you, my brain is still cooked from all the heat, guys. But Super Mario Legend RPG, I want to play. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a day one pickup for me. I'm going to try. Hopefully, they'll have a physical release of that game, because I would like to have have that. But if it's digital only, then that's fine. I'll get a digital only version of the game. But yeah, looking at the Nintendo Direct, I really didn't take that many notes on it. Like I said, I watched it during my lunch break. We saw some stuff for Pikmin. I never played a Pikmin game in my life, so I don't know how fun those games would be. I remember seeing stuff for like more Mario, I mean WarioWare games. What else did we see, guys? I think it's something else from Mario Kart Deluxe, like another wave of DLC. Uh, And I'm sure there's something now, and you guys are just like screaming at this, or yelling at me, because I don't, I'm not naming it off. But um, there's one more thing I want to talk about, guys, before we wrap it up. And like I said again, I said some, actually maybe I should. No, 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 no. We'll keep talking. We'll keep talking. Um, this weekend was CEO. It is a big tournament over there in Dayton, Florida. They have lots of games ran over there by Jabali and his crew. But this was the first major event for Street Fighter 6, which was released on the 2nd of this month. So just within 4 weeks, within 3 weeks of the release of the game, we had a major, and they had almost 1,100 entrants for Street Fighter 6. So I mean, I think that one took the cake for that event. Um, it was fun watching offline Street Fighter again. I had a blast. It was good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I was, especially with the new game coming out, uh, just seeing all the different characters. And I had a discussion with chat in my stream, and a lot of them were saying, and I asked a lot of other people too, some of my other friends that play fighting games, about, do you think we'd see JP's a zoner who's right now seems to be in a very good spot, such a good spot that some people are saying that maybe he should be nerfed, or maybe he's broken. And I don't think he should be nerfed, or he is broken. I don't think he is, at least not yet, at the levels that I've been playing with. I think he's in a really good spot. It's just, you just got to learn how to get around his zoning, and then once you get in there, you have to be able to exploit and get in there and get all the reads and not get out. Once you get inside it, you got to maul him. But I want to talk about the top eight, guys. So we saw Mena RD playing Luke Blanca, Nephew playing Jerry Chun Li, Punk playing Cammy Jury, Sticky Fingers playing Manon, Kaba playing Guile, Idom playing Manon Jury, Zeke playing Jury, Goat Gloat playing Jury. So it seems like Jury, seems to it looks like Jury is the popular character, the ones we see the most of on top 8. You, and I wouldn't say this is what you build a tier list off of, but it's something just to gauge what on the high end spectrum of on the high end spectrum of tournament play, what to see. Of course, there was almost 1,100 entrants, so that data has to be crunched, and we got to see what the most popular characters are. But just looking at top 8, it seems like Jury was in there a lot. We saw a lot of that, a lot of her, and I think a lot of people were sleeping on her. In my opinion, I think a lot of people were sleeping on Cammy, but I'm guessing, but with only what one Cammy on top 8, maybe I was wrong. Um, no Kens. And right now, I've been playing Guile, and I've been having a good time with Guile. But he is, I mean, you always have to be charging it all the time, and I mean that's something to you fully utilize him. That's something I'm not there at the skill level yet, so that's something I gotta work on. And of course, there's still some other characters I still have to try out. I still want to try out DJ. I think DJ might fit my style also, so we'll see. Another thing that I noticed too, I saw this on Reddit on R Kappa. Shouts out to R Kappa, what's up, boys? That in top 8, there was no stick players. No one was on arcade stick. It was 4 leverless players and 4 pad players. Now, of course, I did see players using stick. When I was watching pools and everything, and top 60, top 64, and everything. Players that there is still a lot of people that play stick, but it's you're starting to see the shift, guys. I think we're starting to see the shift going away from stick and more into pad and leverless. And I just want something for you guys to notice on that, to pick up on that and notice that. So we'll see, hopefully, in the next top 8 or the next major event, the top 8, when it's all said and done. That's something that I want to look at, is what equipment are they using, right? Between stick, pad, leverless. And I mean, the leverless things are getting insane, guys. I'm seeing stuff where, because apparently Sony had it set. Was it Sony? No, it was Capcom. Capcom had made some rulings where they're kind of based off the DualSense 5 controller. So I'm starting to see some people have these leverless controllers where they're having a button self set for R3, L3, which are your stick buttons. You could push them in and they count as a button, and the touch button, the touchpad, using that as a button also. So I'm seeing people talking about having those 3 buttons kind of laid out, whether it's by your motion buttons or whether your motion buttons or your action buttons. I'm seeing people are laying that out just so that they can have access to, drive rush or drive impact or parry or whatever you need it for, right? But the more buttons, the more options. The more options, the probably the more better you're gonna be at compared to your opponent, right? So that's something that we should be looking out for, guys. I think it's gonna be interesting. But I think that's it for today, guys. I know I said it was gonna be a 20-minute episode, but it's fine. It just means next week will just be super short, which is fine. Which is fine. Sometimes we need just these little short episodes just to you could check it. You can listen to on your drive to work or on your way home or while you're working out or anything. But anyways, guys, that's it for me for this week. Thank you very much. I know we talked about Final Fantasy, very little about the Nintendo Direct and CEO. So we'll get back into it. We'll get to the routine of things. I will save a conversation for what we've seen up to this first half of this year, and maybe rank them and rate them, give you my own personal what I think about these games. And like I said, this year to me feels like peaks and valleys. We've been very high spots and very low spots. And of course, I was talking to some of my online friends, and they say, every year there's stinkers. And yes, there is true. But I mean, this year, we've seen some stuff come out for the P, and maybe not so much. Okay, except minus Golem, which is terrible. Redfall, which is pretty terrible, right? But we've seen some stuff come out on PC that just on the performance level was really just needed to be reworked and maybe put back in the oven, right? So anyways, guys, we'll save that discussion for another time. Guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Have a good night, good evening, whether you're at work, going to work, or you're working out. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. I love y'all. If you guys want to help out the podcast, go share it. And that could really help. All right, guys. I love you. Peace out. See you next time. Bye.